Hi guys, Skypoint here. The latest faction has landed, the Night Houses are in game, and they promised, based on the previews, to be the most transformative and different new faction since the Thousand Suns, and quite possibly ever. Alright, so as always, we're going to be running through their cards in this video. Apart from the ones in the previews, I haven't seen them, you'll be seeing my reactions, and let's get started. Okay, so we're taking a look at all of the night cards over here. Already straight away I noticed that one of the pilots from the preview is not visible. We'll try and work out what's going on with that in a moment. But anyway, let's get started. We're going to go in with the Warlords, but just to step in there, what we know from the previews was that the Warlords for the Night Houses are two parts. You pick the armor and you pick the pilot. So you see we have these pilot cards without any stats. Let's start with the rare Warlord, the green one, which is going to be the easiest to get, Cerastis Orlax. So we can look at this over here, and what we see is that it comes with 2 attack, 30 health. It's got Reactor 1, so every turn it gains the 1 point of plasma. It starts with 1 energy more, so in your first turn you start with 3 energy, and you have a Reaper Chainsword. And then for spending 1 energy each turn, you can gain 2 more plasma, which powers your weapons. So I'm assuming it means a Reaper Chain Fist, but I'm just going to scroll down and check if there's... Oh, no, here it is, Reaper Chainsword. So this is the weapon that the basic one starts with. Gains +1 attack this turn for spending 1 plasma. So note it says this turn, whereas the... the Reaper Chain Fist says it gains +1 until your next turn. So this Reaper Chain Sword you get, it's free to put into play, but it doesn't last until the enemy turn. It only helps you attack in your turn, and it has less health. It has 8 compared to 10. Alright, so that's the basic knight armor, and I just saw the missing pilot. He was down here, Cerastis Orlax. So interesting enough, he's got a pilot ability that you can spend 1 energy and gain 2 plasma. So my understanding is that whenever you equip one of the Night Warlords, the default pilot you get is this guy. And I think that's what the ability looks like here. I'm sure what we're going to see on all the Night Armors is the default ability is 1 energy to gain 2 plasma, because that's what this pilot does. Alright, before we go into the next pilot, let's look at the next armor, the Epic. Yeah, so the basic ability is from the default pilot. Alright, so Cerastis Orlax, so nothing special over here. This is actually really odd. 2 attack, 35 health. It doesn't say anything about Reactor. In the preview video, the guy who revealed Cerastis Orlax said it had different stats. It seemed to have Reactor 1 and it started with 4 plasma. So maybe they've changed something, maybe this card is just bugged right now, I'm not sure. Okay, let's with that, let's go on to the Legendary Warlord over here. So it has Reactor 1, when you play a weapon, give it +1 health. That's interesting. I mean, it looks like it's... The biggest difference between it and the basic Warlord is the health more than anything else. It has Reactor 1 just the same, and its passive ability is different. It basically makes the weapons last longer. I think that's pretty good, because if you remember from the preview, weapons take damage whenever your Warlord takes damage. So this will just make your weapons potentially last 1 more turn. I'm just not sure how much better this is. Let's take a look at the pilots, and then I'll talk through what the differences are. So next, Elspeth Vor. So this one is actually very cool. As I just mentioned, your weapons take damage when your Warlord takes damage. So being able to buff your weapons with extra health so they last longer is a big deal. So I think Elspeth Vor's ability is very powerful, and when she's your pilot, that replaces the energy ability on your Knight armor. So instead of 1 energy to gain 2 plasma, once you play Elsbeth, sorry, if you choose Elsbeth Vor as your pilot, your ability is spend 2 energy to gain +3 health to your weapon. And then we have Marcan Hrothram, who's the legendary. This is a very good one. Choose a weapon and put it in your hand. So the way the choose abilities have always worked in this game since they got introduced is you'll get a choice of 3 and you can choose which one you want. And this will allow you to always be sure you have the right weapon for the moment, because remember, the weapon cards can be activated as soon as you put them in play. So both of these pilots look good. Elsbeth Vor will make any weapons you actually have in play last longer, but Marcan Hrothram will allow you to play the right weapons at the right time. And then between the 3 suits of armor, I actually think Cerastis Orlax, if it has the abilities which it's supposed to based on the preview video, which is start with 4 plasma, I think that's a very strong one. Alright. Let's keep going through the cards. Next we've got a tactic, House Orlax. This is a cool one. Choose a weapon from your deck and create a copy of it in your hand. Wait, Marcan Hrothram's one was, yeah, put it in your hand as well. So this is sort of like another version of the legendary pilot's ability, and it's going to be good for reacting to the current situation. So I like it. I think it'll be an important card. Next we have a legendary, the first legendary we're seeing here. It's a tactic. Heal your weapon fully and it can act again. Wow, there's some crazy combos you'll be able to do with this. That is exciting. Alright. Martian Emissary next. So this is infantry for the Night Houses. This is actually really cool. It's a plasma generating card, and you can bounce it back to your hand and play it again. So this is very good for early game, when hopefully it's hard for it to die and you can just bounce it back. Reaper Chainfist was in my reveal video. I found this would be a very good early game card as well, because it helps you do damage in your turn, and it helps to discourage attacks against you as well by giving you +1 attack until your next turn. So I really like this one. Atrapus Last Cutter. This is new. Deal 1 damage to all enemies in exchange for 1 plasma. If any die, this weapon can act again. Again, this looks really strong for early game, and of course this is great for all those Defenders of Caliban Jaegers with 1 health. Just blast them apart and then blast again. I like it. House Divine. Alright, so heal 3 to a friendly unit and give it frontline until your next turn. Theoretically, this is good because it helps to defend your Warlord, but remember, if your Warlord takes damage, so do your weapons. So although I think most factions would tend to play a card like this on their Warlord, I think the Knights might play it on a unit. Especially if you can play it on a unit and protect your Martian Emissary until next turn. Well, maybe protecting Martian Emissary will be worth playing House Divine on your Warlord for. Iron Gauntlet Shield. This is a defensive weapon, gives your Warlord shield. So maybe that's going to help with giving him frontline. Then you give him shield and he's protecting the troops. He can withstand the first hit and so on. Ionic Flare Shield. So this is the tactic version of Ion Gauntlet Shield. The difference over here is with the Gauntlet Shield, you can repeatedly activate a shield every turn as long as you've got the plasma to pay for it. Whereas with Ionic Flare Shield, this is a tactic. Spend 2 energy, draw a card, and get shield. As I've said in every reveal video, 2 energy, in my opinion, is the base cost of drawing a card alone, because that's what it costs Horus to do it. And so I think this is worth the energy, because you're getting a shield on top of that. Overtaxed Reactor. This is another similar one. This now draws a card and gets you 3 plasma. I think that's fantastic. Plasma Generator. Okay, so this is the first of a number of structures we're going to see for the Night Houses, which are there to just give you plasma. So you can see here, this has Reactor 1, so it passively gives you plasma every turn. And then on top of that, you can spend 2 energy to gain 2 plasma as well. I think its attack value, so how much damage it does to other units, is a little bit low. Although between its attack, its health, and its abilities, it's probably one of the most value for energy cards there is. You spend 2 energy and you're getting a total of 6 points of attack and health between those. Normally, an average card, which would cost 2 energy, would have 2 attack and 2 health. So, which is 4 points in total. So this is 50% better in stats than the average 2-cost unit, and it has a bunch of other abilities. So it could be good. Just looking at the deck over here, there's a lot of good 1 and 2 cost units here, and I just think, well, 1 and 2 cost cards, and I just think Plasma Generator, although it's good value, it's going to fall away to the side compared to some of the others. Tech Engineer, like this guy. This is choose a weapon and put it in your hand. Again, helping you to get set up for the current situation. Very good card. Hellrider, oh my god, yes please. Give your Warlord Terror and create 2 Reaper Chain Fists in your hand. Just look at that. With 2 Reaper Chain Fists, you put them into play for 2 energy. 1 energy each. Spend 1 plasma each, and all of a sudden your Warlord is attack 4, which will help him to hit a whole bunch of troops, a whole bunch of different troops in the game without taking damage in return. This is great. It's one of the best low-cost legendaries. House Erthagen. Interesting. Let's take a look here. Your Warlord gains +1 attack and sneak attack until your next turn. Very good, especially if you've just previously put your 2 Chain Fists into play. You could go up to 4 attack from your Chain Fist +1 from this, so 5 attack with your Warlord, which could be cool. Maintenance Servitor from my reveal video, very useful abilities. Gaining plasma is handy, healing your Warlord and your weapons is also handy, and 4 health helps to make sure these guys stay alive. Munition Depot. Interesting. 3 energy, also very good stats for that. The average 3 energy unit is 3 health, 3 attack. Sorry, 3 attack, 3 health. This is 2 health, slightly lower, but 2 attack, which is slightly lower than average, but 5 health, which is higher than average, much higher than average. When you put it in play, the cost of the weapons in your hands go down by 1, and every turn it stays alive, the cost goes down by 1. That could be very useful. I just need to see like how many weapon cards there are, and how often is it that you'll have really like 2 or more weapons sitting around in your hand. If that's a situation which happens quite a lot, then this becomes worth it. Otherwise, my gut is telling me that most of the time this is going to be just affecting 1 weapon, and it probably won't be game changing. Ocular Augmetics. Oh yeah, good. This is your anti-stealth card, and it draws 2 cards. Yes, yes, yes. Anti-stealth abilities are always useful. Drawing 2 cards makes it more likely you'll find the weapons you need, so this looks very, very strong. Restoris Battle Cannon. Okay, so this is probably just your most average looking weapon. It's just useful, right? 3 energy, pretty cheap to put in. 2 plasma, relatively cheap to fire, deal 3 damage. Okay, I just view this as being the average weapon, so sure. Shock Lance. Now this one is better in my opinion. This is gives your Warlord +1 attack and first strike. And so you could combo this with other weapons or tactics to potentially take out powerful but damaged enemies without taking any damage in return. And with 10 health, that thing's going to last for quite a while. Blessed Auto Simulacra. Wow, okay. What is that? What is an Auto Simulacra? Is it a simulation pod or something? I'm not sure. Heal 3 to your Warlord. Return this card to your deck and draw a card. Oh my god, this is like a baby version of Armor of Mars. Armor of Mars was heal 6 to your Warlord, return this to your deck and draw a card, but it only worked for the return if your Warlord was at 10 health or less, and Armor of Mars is a legendary, so you only get 1 of them. You get 2 of these, and I think that's going to be really key. Also because remember, as I keep mentioning in this video, your weapons will take damage when your Warlord does, but they also heal whenever your Warlord heals. So this should actually read heal 3 to your Warlord and weapons, which is going to be very important. So I think a pair of these are going to be there to keep your Warlord alive. Favorite of Mars. Your warlord gains reactor 2. Oh, wow, okay. So this is going to be key for using all those weapons every turn. So yes, please. Very expensive to put in play, which is the downside, because you put it in play, you get nothing to show during the current turn for 4 energy. But if there's a quiet moment in the match, this could be set you up for a very strong finish. Flame cannon. Oh, yeah. Alright, I love this. I really enjoy the Salamander's troop, which has a similar effect. Being able to get at least one enemy down to 2 health tends to be quite straightforward in this game. And once you do that, you could set up a cascading effect to just burn the enemy board clear. I like this card a lot. House Maccabeus, an epic. Your warlord gains +4 attack until your next turn. No one is going to want to hit your warlord while you've got this thing in play. It's an epic, so you can get 2 of them. Potentially, you could therefore play 2 of them in 1 turn and give your warlord +8 attack. And if you had a shock lance in play, you can get that with first strike. Oh my god, yeah. There's so many good combos you can get with House Maccabeus over there. That's a fantastic card. Household Guard. This is a common troop. It's got very low attack for 2 energy. Sorry, for 4 energy. It's vulnerable to Melgator, and it's vulnerable to the Night Lord's card, which destroys units with 1 or 2 health. I don't think you'll see this guy being used that commonly in ladder play. He'll be an event deck person. Tech Priest Adjutant. So we saw this in the reveals, I think. Your weapon abilities cost 1 less while this guy's in play. That's going to be key for firing off your weapons repeatedly. So I just think that his stats are a little bit underpowered, and I'm not sure how difficult it's going to be to get the right level of plasma to fire quite often. If plasma turns out to be a problem, this guy will get used a lot. If plasma is plentiful, he won't be used. Archmage Drakovic. I love the artwork over here. So look at this guy. He's legendary. He's got Reactor 1, and his rally abilities are awesome. Gaining 4 plasma will allow you to fire your weapons, which is great. Healing 5 to your warlord will heal your warlord and weapons, keeping them alive, which is great. Or drawing a weapon from your deck. That's probably the least effective outcome from using him, but if you're desperate, it might be a purpose. I like this guy. Very, very useful on 2 out of 3 abilities over there. Bolt Cannon, look at that. Oh, that looks like a Gatling gun. Deal 4 damage to a troop and can act again. Handy, especially if you're swimming in plasma. Especially if you've got Tech Priest Adjutant in play. So, yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Communications Relay. Alright, so this is a structure. Cannot attack. Enemy tactics cost 1 more. And you can spend 1 energy to draw a card. So this is sort of really a defensive unit. Decent amount of health for 5 energy. It's vulnerable to being Melgatored. I would say it's vulnerable to the Night Lord's tactic, except you are making the enemy spend 1 energy more to play that. So it's not too bad. I actually like this. Enemy tactics can really mess you up, and a card like this can buy you a little protection against the Harrowing from the Alpha Legion. It can buy you protection against the Conqueror from the World Eaters, Vengeful Spirits. There's a lot of situations where you can buy yourself 1 more turn by playing Communications Relay, so I like the card. Storm Spear Rocket Pod. Okay, this is a tactic. Deal 2 to 3 damage to all enemies. For each enemy unit killed, gain a plasma. Oh my god. If you have some of the weapons in play, this will be powerful. Imagine you play this after someone does Heart of Caliban, for example, and put 5 weenie troops in play. Spend 5 energy, gain 5 plasma for that, as well as clearing the enemy board. Excellent. I love this card. Combined Arms. This is just a reuse of old artwork. We saw this in one of the preview videos. Put in play 2 Epsilon Row 32s. So Epsilon Rows 32s were, of course, the defensive Mechanicum troops shown on that card. Where have they gone? They were, I think, 4 cost. Yeah, these guys. Getting 2 of them is actually pretty good. Especially for 6 energy. And especially because then that'll also allow you to play units like Martian Emissary with a bit of protection. So I like combined arms. Alright, Corrupt Usurpation. So a lot of people were trying to figure out what this one means, what it says. Take control of an enemy troop, then return it to your hand. So what this will do is takes control of an enemy troop, and then before you can act with it in any way, it immediately returns it to your hand. So it's very similar to effects which destroy an enemy troop and create a copy of it in your hand. So we saw that with the Ruined Storm over here. So the Ruined Storm have a card coming in at 7 energy, War Master's Deceit. Destroy an enemy troop and create a copy of it in your hand. However, when you destroy a troop, you will trigger effects like Backlash or the Blood Angel's ability. Where's it gone over here? What was it called? Requiem, right? When a unit is destroyed, Backlash or Requiem get triggered. Whereas Corrupt Usurpation takes control of a unit, which will not trigger Backlash or Requiem, and then returns it to your hand. So a little bit different effect, but very cheap to do, coming in at 6 energy. I like it. Plasma Regulators. This is the next building we see over here. Reactor 1 cannot attack. It's got very good health, below average attack, but its activated ability is very powerful. Just reading this again. 2 energy to gain 3 plasma and heal 2 to your warlord. I actually like it. You're going to put this thing on the board and your enemy is going to make a fair effort to take it out before your turn starts. So it doesn't really have frontline, but unless the enemy has lethal on you, he's probably going to try to take Plasma Regulators out, because if it survives to your turn, it can do a lot to help you out. So I like the card, and I think I would end up using it sort of as a frontline troop. Sidon Protocols. Heal 3 to your warlord and give it Relentless. Create a Mechanicum infantry in your hand. That's very good. Honestly, spending 6 energy for the healing is not bad. The heal itself is worth 3 energy. And then on top of that, creating cards in your hand helps you to make sure you always have units in play. And you can have 2 of these in your deck. So potentially, by the end of the game, you could be creating 2 Mechanicum infantry. That might be overdoing it a little. You might find your hand filling up too fast. So maybe 1 of these in your deck could be a good idea. Tempest Warblade. We saw this one. This is awesome as well. Look at this. Spend 2 plasma, and then your warlord gains +2 attack this turn and can attack again every time he kills a target. So if you have the Tempest Warblade and the where's it gone down here? Shock Lance in place, you become a melee knight. It becomes pretty lethal. You're looking at +3 attack with first strike, and every time you kill a unit, you can act again. So you can just be carving through badly damaged units. Crusade of Iron. Love that name. Draw 3 cards, reduce the cost by 1 whenever your warlord's attacked. That's pretty good, especially if you draw this early on. After a couple of hits against your warlord, you'll get a pretty much almost a free draw 3 cards effect, which can turn things around quite quickly. I like it. I like this a lot. Hecaton Claw. This is an epic. It's a siege claw. Your warlord gains +2 and cleave 1 this turn and can attack again, can act again. So potentially, if you had 9 plasma, you could give yourself +6 attack on your warlord and cleave 3. Wow. Very cool. Has a good amount of health as well. And it's quite expensive to win and play, but by late game that could make a big difference. Patron Forge. I like this. Okay, so this is an expensive building. Lots of health though, and its attack is too high for Melgator, and it's tricky for the tactics to affect it. Has Reactor 2, which is great, and it creates a random weapon in your hand, essentially for free, because the weapon costs 2 less. That's all really powerful and everything. My one fear is that this comes in play too late in the game. I don't know, maybe the Knights will stretch into long games. If the games with the Knights go on for a while, Patron Forge can make a big difference. But I don't know, like, I feel you may not get too much out of this card, because the game will be over shortly after it enters play. I don't know, we'll see, especially in the event, we'll see. Then we get Unshakable Warden. I like this. Now this might be a good reason to include Patron Forge in your deck, because you draw 2 structures, including Patron Forge, for 8 energy, and suddenly that becomes worthwhile, and your Warlord gains frontline, so your structures get protected. So yeah, I think Patron Forge is just good if you're going with Unshakable Warden as well. Volkite Chernobyl. Okay, so look at this. 8 energy for 8 health, but spend 3 plasma and destroy an enemy troop. I like this a lot. In late game, some enemies tend to rely on powerful troops to kill you. As long as they don't have ward, the Volkite Chernobyl will take care of them for you. And what about for enemies who do have ward? Well, there's the Magna Las Cannon for that. I know a lot of people saw this in the preview video and thought, well, compared to the next gun, the Graviton Cannon, this is useless. But the Graviton Cannon will do nothing against stealthed enemies or enemies with ward, whereas Magna Las Cannon will just laugh at them. Alright, the main event, the Graviton Singularity Cannon. This is the legendary, costs 10 energy, has 8 health, and for 4 plasma you can practically obliterate almost any troop in the game or really wreck the enemy warlord. And if you have that ability, where's it gone, which allows you to act again this turn? Is it Health Earth again? No, oh man, I lost track of which one it was now. Oh, okay. One of them allowed your, I think, your weapon to act twice. Oh my god, which one was it? House Fironi? Oh yeah, here it is. House Fironi. Your weapon can act again. So House Fironi on top of Graviton Cannons. Imagine this. In one of your turns, you play the Graviton Cannon and you deal 10 damage to the enemy warlord. Somehow you avoid the Graviton Cannon being destroyed. It comes to your next turn. You fire it again, dealing another 10 damage to the enemy warlord. You then play House Fironi, and your weapon can act one more time, and you fire it again. And so in basically across 2 turns, your Graviton Singularity Cannon could have done 30 damage as long as you had 12 plasma and House Fironi, and a way of protecting yourself against 8 damage the next turn. A lot of things needing to come together there, but I'm sure someone will do it. Alright, and the very last card we're going to look at here is their counterattack. So their counterattack is gain 1 plasma and heal 1 to your warlord. Not bad. Alright, so that's all of the cards. I'm going to be taking a break and then starting up a stream to try out the Night Houses. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a couple minutes. Alright, bye for now, everyone.